ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
Now Walsh on the run. Walsh slices through. This is Reece Walsh at his best. Walsh beats Weeks and Walsh is over. And while Reece Walsh is out there, they've got some hope.
Morgan Freeman once said, hope is a dangerous thing. But you know what? So's Reece Walsh. At the pointy end of any football season, true contenders have at least one player who can swing a title campaign. For Brisbane, it's the barely controlled chaos of Walsh. At Penrith, it's the zen of Nathan Cleary. Jharome Hughes is the eye of the Melbourne Storm. Nicho Hynes seems to have Cronulla drunk on the power of a nobody believes in us narrative. Today we're diving into the 4 players upon which this NRL season hinges on. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. Lara Pitt covers NRL for Fox League. She's plugged into this scene and is going to talk to us about the 4 players who might, maybe, possibly decide who plays in the 2025 Grand Final. Lars, we've got to start with the Friday clash in Melbourne. And from a Cronulla perspective, I just can't help but be drawn to Nicho Hynes. Do you feel as though he's been kind of emblematic for the Sharks in the sense that his best is among the best, but I feel like the industry maybe doesn't trust him fully yet, and this is a chance to change that?
Just watching the Sharks this season, it has felt from the outside looking in that they've spent the whole year building, and they've felt very strongly that they're on the path, and everyone on the outside hasn't been convinced. But talking to Fitzy, being at games, in post-game, I just feel like they've been making major adjustments to the style and the game plan. Years gone by, when Nicho Hynes won the Dally M medal, he was the star. He was the, player that could win them games. And I just think Fitzy felt that they could not go to the next level if it was all on one player. And so it's been a bit of a adjustment for all players in the team, in the spine, for Trindle and Hynes to find their rhythm as a combination, to not have one sort of shooting the lights out and the other not. And maybe, just maybe, it's hit and the game plan's sinking in right at the best time of the year. So they've become a more defence-orientated team, a team that doesn't necessarily see Nicho being the guy that we're talking about every single week. But they've gotten there, and it was important, clearly, for others to step up and play their role, for them to be taken seriously as a legitimate title contender. And now they go to Melbourne, and he looks like he's playing angry and it suits him.
Brayley passes right in centre field. Trindle with an inside flick to Hynes. Hynes scores a brilliant Sharks try. What a strike from inside their own half.
Watching him and his comments again this week, keeps talking about no one's giving them a chance and no one's respecting them.
I'll just say that no one ever gives us a chance. And I feel like if we beat some good teams or when we win, it's always because who's injured or if they didn't play well. Yeah, I don't think credit's where it's due sometimes for us, and they'll leave it at that.
Whatever you need to tell yourself, then and if it's working, keep that narrative going behind the scenes, because he's playing at his best at the most important time of the year.
Yeah, it's an intoxicating tonic, isn't it? Playing with a snarl, not a smile.
Yeah. Well, the world against you, and no one thinks anyone from Cronulla can win a comp, and all this sort of stuff. And you know what? That's the psychology of sport and finding your motivation. Nicho's been so open and honest about the way he mentally gets himself up for games. He's had his ups and downs, and if he wants to share this again, then, I think Sharks fans will love that he's back against the wall. No one cares. No one gives us a chance and the respect. And now it's down to Melbourne with probably the same feeling that no one can give them a chance to win in Melbourne, because it's such a hard place to go against this juggernaut and this forever grand final bound team.
Yeah, and that's perfect, because if the Sharks are a kind of nobody believes in us team, Melbourne might be the opposite, even though they've not been at their best this season. There's reserves of trust, and it's not a side who would probably welcome conversation around a solitary player, but if we were to pick one, I feel like Jharome Hughes might be the eye of the Melbourne Storm. Do you see it?
He's got to come back this week and play lights out footy, and he can. The way he played last year to take out the Dally M, that's the football they need back in the side. They sorely missed him when he was out, and And you know what this season, the storyline for Craig Bellamy has been one of ups and downs. Like, he's been frustrated with that team many times and, had his blow-ups famously in the coaches' boxes, but also in press conferences where he's sort of, been pulling his hair out like, do you actually want it?
Certainly wasn't a result we wanted, but the lack of effort was the thing that stood out for me. There was a little bit like last week, we didn't play so well in the second half either, but we were, I can think of a couple of words, but I probably can't say them, but on that second half. Like, that was 40-0 in a half a footy. That's embarrassing. So that's about the nicest word I could use.
But they are here again, and you can trust that Bellamy will have them up again for it. The injury for Hughes will be, a fascinating watch. Clearly they need him, so they play him. But, is he playing hurt? The Sharks and Adam Fanua-Blake will certainly run straight at him and over him from the kickoff to try and test out the shoulder that he hurt and now the broken arm that he's coming back from that's got a plate in it. But he's just so important to the way the Melbourne Storm play. And, as you can see, all the halfbacks in this final series, they have such a huge role to play if they are to win and to get through to another grand final. You can bet your bottom dollar it's because Jharome Hughes has had a huge game and a huge part to play in it.
Sunday in Brisbane is mouth-watering. Panthers, Broncos.
Oh my God. I'm just watching, again, like we're at Sicko House at the Pitt House, just like you cannot wait for this. There's no storyline that is not going to be covered that, we need a 3-hour pre-game show. It's such a good game. Like, seriously, it's the best game. I'm so excited for both teams to be in this matchup. Whether you're on the side of history and you want to see the Panthers go to a grand final, or whether you're on the Reece Walsh train and you just love watching this guy play, Nathan Cleary and what he was able to do last week and play the perfect first half when they've come from like the bottom of the table and now they're in a prelim. Like, it's just stupid and so good at the same time.
On Walsh, I mean, you have to be a special level of star power to drink toilet water and still have the biggest X factor in the comp. Can you maybe talk to us about how much of the Broncos...
toilet water? Because I don't have anything to add to that. But, it's always the ones that tick a little bit differently in rugby league that seem to be able to produce some incredible stuff. Some of the biggest characters in our game off the field seem to be the ones that nail the big moments. And, his game in Canberra will go down, in folklore for good reasons and bad reasons, for going off to the sin bin and leaving his side potentially to crumble and to lose, and then to sit in the sheds and go, I'm going to go out there and win this game and then deliver.
Yeah. Back here, Walsh, early kick from behind the 30. Weeks chasing it down towards that touchline. That's incredible from Reece Walsh. It cuts in just behind the corner post. That is the longest, most extraordinary 40-20 you will see.
It means that he comes into this one, and you heard him during the week when he was asked,
how do you stop Nathan Cleary, mate? Like, he cruelled you in the 2023 grand final. We saw what he did, and I guess it still haunts people that support the Broncos and probably yourself as well. How do you deal with him?
How does he deal with us?
Don't ever change, Reece, because they could have been humble. He could have been really boring in that answer because you don't want to motivate or, stir up this champion Penrith team. But he's just like, come at me, and I'm excited for it. And, they lost a grand final, the unlosable grand final against Penrith.
2 plays left on the set. It goes to Cleary. Nathan Cleary! Wow! Cleary's done it all himself. What a try! Well, he had to stand up, and he's just elevated himself from a champion.
They cannot tell any of us that that's not in the motivation here, because that pretty much crawled their entire 2024 season, the mental scars of that, and this is their opportunity. You can't change the history, but you can certainly, rewrite it and create a new path for you and say, you know what, fans, sorry that happened, but we're going to knock them off here and get you to a grand final.
The man at the centre of that grand final game is the most obvious protagonist to finish with, Nathan Cleary. We've seen throughout the year he's kind of got a capacity to rise when they need him most. And in some ways he's had a hard year because for a guy who has endured that criticism at Origin level, it's been a bit different for him. I can't help but feel his ability to engineer a grand final appearance here, that would just take him to a different level still.
If he wins another one, anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. If he wins another one, if he can get them through all those things, we'll be talking next week about, where he sits amongst, the greatest of all time. And we're talking about the coach this week. But Nathan has been, you don't have Nathan Cleary, you don't win 4 in a row, in my opinion. So he's hugely important this weekend. And you can see whatever it was, there's something that's behind the scenes and we'll only find out after the season's over. But they've refocused, they've got a storyline, there's something that they're cooking up behind there to motivate them, because what they did against Canterbury, they've just put the foot down now and gone, right, this is our time.
To Cleary, to Papali'i. He up to the 40. Got tackled. Offload to Cleary. Pass to the right edge. Tongo feeds it to the right edge for Alamotti. Up to the 20. Passes infield. And Cleary's there to finish it off. Oh, you don't win 4 in a row for nothing. That is top shelf September stuff from the reigning champs. And Nathan Cleary scores. Where did that come from, Louis?
And you know what? They'll probably have like a handful of Penrith supporters at Suncorp, but that's the way they like it. They have been homeless all year. There's been no Panthers Stadium. They've had to come back from all sorts of adversity at the bottom of the table. But Nathan Cleary seems at the peak of his powers just at the right time. He seemed really cranky when they lost in really close circumstances to the Storm and the Raiders in back-to-back games and then lost hope of making the top 4. They had their little rest. They've had their reset. It's go time for them. He has to be the man again, and Brisbane have got to do a big job on stopping his confidence and his momentum, because when he's in the zone, there's no one else like him.
2 enormous games, Lars. Who wins both?
The boring me says Melbourne and Penrith, but you know what? The rugby league gods and the storylines that will come out of this weekend, you could easily see it being a Sharks-Broncos grand final. I always pick with my head, not my heart, so I'm going to go the Storm and the Panthers to win through.
It sounds good to me, Lars. Thanks for pulling it all apart for us. Appreciate it, mate.
No worries.
Headlines. Lachie Neale has trained strongly at Princes Park in Melbourne as the Brisbane skipper pushes to be ready for the AFL Grand Final. The midfielder hit full speed during the session as he attempts to turn a 4 to 6 week calf injury into a 3-week comeback. You wonder whether that could impact Jared Berry. He's been dealing with a dislocated shoulder that he incurred in the prelim win over Collingwood. Would Brisbane really take in 2 compromised players? As for Geelong, the main point of intrigue is who might come in for concussed defender Tom Stewart. To get across the teams, head to ABC Sport website. We're going to have all the information as soon as it drops, as well as a wealth of content leading into the big game. Oh, and check out Paul Roos and Poppy Penny doing a grand final preview on ABC AFL Daily. Roosy won a premiership 20 years ago this weekend, and Poppy is across everything you need to know. Snoop Dogg has been an awkward headline all season for the AFL as a consequence of some old homophobic lyrics and some new comments questioning same-sex parents. On Saturday, he will be the headline act for the grand final pre-game show. He gave a heavily staged corporate interview and said all the right things on this occasion.
I have some special guests that will be performing with me, to make it feel like it's supposed to feel. It's always been a warm welcome for me, and I just want to let everybody know that I appreciate y'all for allowing me to perform. That's why I want to share the stage with a couple of family members so that way we can do it in unity.
He's undeniably charismatic. During the Olympics, we saw him clowning around in all kinds of outfits, and he was asked if he might have some gags on Saturday. Here's what he said.
I tend to be funny from time to time. Hopefully it don't be no blooper humor. Maybe it's some stage humor. We don't want nothing to be, funny because it didn't want to be funny.
It's a very soothing voice, doesn't he? Ange Postecoglou has returned to the Europa League for the first time since winning it. Only thing is, he's with a different team, obviously. The manager's new club, Nottingham Forest, showed the clearest indication yet that they are adapting to the Ange Ball mentality in an attacking display with Real Betis. Sadly for the English club, they could only muster a 2-2 draw, and that means Postecoglou remains winless at Forest. Rugby. Incredibly, James O'Connor is going to start at fly half for the Wallabies against the All Blacks at Eden Park in Game 1 of the Bledisloe Cup. The veteran had flown to the UK to play for his club Leicester, only to get an SOS from coach Joe Schmidt, so got back on a plane, flew to New Zealand. Now he's going to be in the 10-jumper. Tane Edmed goes to the bench. Prop James Slipper is playing Game 150. He just might go on forever. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Poppy Penny. Thanks to Channel 9 and Fox Sports for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.